Hello, welcome to the training for the Assessment for Program Referral section of the OC Connect Coordinated Entry Tool. I'm Corey Root, coordinator of the Orange County Partnership to End Homelessness. So what this part of the tool does is to prioritize program referrals using the VI-SPDAT assessment tool. So the reason that we prioritize is that we don't have enough resources in our system to serve everyone who presents. So we have to prioritize who gets what program referral. Traditionally, this has been done in our system on a first-come, first-served basis or by other methods of determining who gets services and who doesn't. The way we're doing prioritization now is based on vulnerability. And when we talk about vulnerability, we mean like pretty serious stuff, like vulnerability to dying, to dying while still experiencing homelessness. So we use that vulnerability to create a by name list and also use the length of time homeless and someone's living situation, whether it be outdoors or in a shelter or transitional housing program, to determine who gets services next. So this is changing from, this traditional way of people sort of waiting quite a long time and then being the next person on the list to the new way is more like the emergency room. So if you're sitting in the emergency room and you have a sprained ankle, and someone comes in, let's say you've been waiting a long time with that sprained ankle, but someone comes in and they are in the middle of like a heart attack, that person is going to get served first because that person is in grave danger. And that's the way our system is starting to prioritize as well. So the folks who will get to this part of the tool, it'll be either someone who's already experiencing homelessness and they're not looking to go to a shelter or transitional housing program, or if someone is experiencing homelessness for more than 2 weeks and they are interested also in shelter, they would get to this part of the tool. Or if someone is staying in a shelter and they are looking for assistance for housing, they would also get here. So looking at how program referral fits into the overall context of our tool, program referral solves the question of how does someone get back into permanent housing? It does not answer the question of where someone will sleep tonight. That's the exploring your options part of the tool, and there's a whole training for that which you can take as well if you're interested in learning more about that. The goal of this part of the tool is really that we get the right referral for each household the first time that someone presents for services. And again, we really want to make sure that we're taking into account program eligibility, funding or other availability of what's available right now, and then what the household needs. And we want to get each household the exact right amount of assistance. Not more assistance than they need, because if we're giving one household more assistance than they need, that means that we don't have enough, we won't have enough for the next person to come because we don't have enough resources to serve everyone. But we certainly don't want to give people less than what they need either. We want to be able to exit people to permanent housing and have them be able to stay exited, not return to homelessness. So when you're using OC Connect, remember if you see a red bar, it means you need to enter information and you won't be able to move to the next screen before you enter something into the required field. If you try to hit continue and it doesn't work, it means you need to hit save first. Many of the answers you'll need using OC Connect, you'll choose from a list of options. And if you're typing in the database as you talk with clients, we recommend that you sit on the same side of the table so both you and the client can see the screen that you're working on. For training specifically on the VI-SPDAT, please complete the Org Codes Google-based training using the link provided. This will take about 30 minutes. After you complete the VI SPDAT, OC Connect asks some further information to help us in the coordinated entry process. So the things that we ask are about income. What is an average monthly income? We recognize that a lot of folks will be doing day labor and different things. And if that's the case, we're just looking for a general round number that will help us to make the program referrals in the home committee. We also ask if folks receive SSI or SSDI. That will help us to make referrals for SOAR potentially. And if folks don't receive SSI or SSDI currently, are they interested in applying for that? And if they have some other kind of insurance, what is that insurance? And then another thing to ask, because we do work in committee and with a lot of different folks working around that on a regular day, where is the easiest place to find someone and what time of day? And then is there a phone number or an email where someone can safely get in touch with the person? We try to save that information as well so that folks can get in touch who are not necessarily the person taking this information. So at this point in the tool, it goes through the digital consenting process, and this process allows folks to share information through the Orange County Partnership to End Homelessness Home Task Force or Home Committee. And this is a group of service providers that meet regularly to discuss different people who've given their consent to be on the list, that make program referrals and in other ways try to get folks into housing. So folks can initial at all a couple of different places giving their consent. People can also choose not to initial and not to give consent for various things, and we expect that a number of folks will do that, and that is absolutely fine. This whole process is really built on client choice, and consent is at the very fundamental heart of client choice. So folks really need to feel okay that people are discussing details of their lives in committee and to understand that and being on the list. That's what that means, is that there'll be a discussion every month. And so there are different places that folks can give consent. And we list all of the agencies that participate in the home committee. These will be updated periodically, and so using the version that's in the OC Connect tool is great because that's the most recent version. But the first set of initials is authorizing periodic exchange of information between the noted agencies, including information related to assessment or diagnoses, medical history, or treatment history. And if someone consents to that, they would put their initials, or if they don't consent, there are no initials there. The next category is authorizing the exchange of information, even if the information relates to mental health treatment. And then the next is about substance abuse. And the next is about information related to HIV, AIDS, or other sexually transmitted diseases. So folks can initial those if they agree to those or not. If they don't, either way is fine. And some folks also want to give other things, other parameters around what is okay to discuss. Some examples are that, or some people have said it's okay to discuss anything related to my housing, but not anything beyond that. Other folks have said, I really don't want anything discussed about my interactions with, a certain service provider. And so people can place other, parameters around their consent in that final box. And then we use a digital consenting process where people sign by signing their name, or typing their name rather, and putting the date, and then you would indicate who is exactly signing the form. If that is the client themselves or a legal guardian or some other type of representative. And then the witness signature would be you, the service provider, would type your name there and the date. And then we recommend that you print the results and give each client a copy. You might be in a place where there is no printer, in which case please ask another service provider at CEF or at the Partnership to End Homelessness to print those results and to give them to the client. It's important that they have a hard copy of their consent, that they understand what they've consented to. Clients can revoke their consent at any time and say, I really don't want to be a part of this anymore. Normally the consent runs for 12 months, but there's also a space if someone wants to have the consent be shorter than that, then they can say this consent is only good for 6 months. But then at any point also within that, they can say, you know what, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I don't want people talking about my personal information. I'm revoking my consent to be part of this list and this discussion, at which case they can, and would be printed on the printed version, they can let anyone at the Partnership to End Homelessness know. And my contact information will be on that printed part of the consent. Thanks for watching the OC Connect program referral training. Please go back to the OC Connect training and enrollment page to continue the user registration process, including a link to the org code VI-SPDAT specific training. As you use the system, please let your OC Connect organizational representative know if you have questions or suggestions to improve the system. Thanks a lot.